What's up, everybody? This is Cody here at Bonnie Acres Farm, here to give you another video. Today's is going to be building our squash tunnel in our Eden garden. This is something that my wife's been wanting for years, so finally I can get some peace and quiet. So stay tuned. Hopefully we'll learn something together. Real quick, here's the squash mounds that we have. So these were just going to initially just be allowed to creep along the ground, and if you've ever done squash, you know they creep a bunch. So what we're going to be able to do now with the squash tunnel on the outsides of these is we're going to be able to take these and put mounds in between each. That way they can grow up and around the squash tunnel. You'll see what that looks like in a minute. And this will be plenty of space for them now to grow and sprawl and not get in each other's way or in the rest of the garden's way. All right, so I've done the first section. It was super quick. I'm going to show you how simple this is and the tooling and equipment that you'll need, and you'll see that this is a super simple project. So all a squash tunnel is in this case is 5-foot T-posts and cattle panel. This is a 16-foot long cattle panel, 50 inches high. So normally you'd have this standing up on its side and you'd cover 16-foot fencing. Here I have my next 3. For me to go the full length, I'm probably going to need another 5 panels. But basically it's just T-post at each corner. You slide it down on the outside like that, and you weave it just once. This one I wove on the ends, an extra one on the inside, on the outside rather, just for a little extra tension. I don't know that I'll be able to do it for the next ones down the line. I'm going to share this next post with the beginning of the next panel. You'll see what that looks like in a minute, but it's, again, just super simple. But you want to use this nice heavy gauge steel for stuff like squash, because if you use that thin gauge steel welded wire, it ain't going to hold anything but peas or, you know, your smaller... I inhaled a bug. That thin stuff's not going to hold anything but your smaller stuff. Like, it wouldn't even hold a cucumber. So if you want to hold anything in an arch, this is the stuff you need. So I'll record myself putting this together and you'll see what it looks like. Whoa, I'm a mess. Okay, so it's warming work, obviously, but it's not that hard, and super simple. So I'll walk you through it. So like I just showed you, T-posts at all corners, and like I said here, I'm sharing 1 T-post for each layer that I'm adding. I do think it would be a little less flimsy if I could get this up and around, just like I did on the end there. Helps it with the rigidity. And maybe I'll try to do that, but it doesn't seem like it's gonna need it. I just won't know until I have some squash pulling on this. One thing I'm gonna do though is up here in the middle, you can see they're not like quite even. I might try to force that down and then just put a zip tie between the two and just kind of try to make that a little more uniform. That's probably more of an appearance thing than anything. But now these squash will try to grow out, but they're going to start going up instead. And so the benefits of this is multi-fold. We'll see how many fold it is here in a second. So one, your plants, like your crawlers, your climbers, squash will grow upward rather than outward and take up less garden space in that regard. One-fold. Two-fold, it helps with any pests on the ground and molds on the ground. Certain molds, like the white bloomy mold that comes on the squash plants, is prevented in this measure here by getting them off the ground. So there's twofold, kind of threefold if you count the pests that it helps with. And it also just looks nice when it's done and the green's actually growing in. So, and this is actually kind of like a nice little shady tunnel. I know the girls are going to love walking up and down it. So fourfold. And actually at the end of the season, when the squash is done, in the middle you can have more of your cold hardy stuff growing and extend your season and wrap this with a greenhouse, like a greenhouse tarp. So sixfold, sixfold, I don't know. There's probably some more uses and more benefits to this. You can probably mix in, well, you can definitely mix in some other crops that climb with your squash, and then you kind of have this tunnel you can walk up and down and pick from. And just be sure that you understand cross-pollination and the stuff that can happen with cross-pollination, especially with like cucumbers. When they cross-pollinate with certain things, they take on the taste of those things. Sometimes it's not for the better. More often than not, it's not for the better. Same thing with some melons and whatnot. So just be mindful of what you're blending in this situation, and weary of the cross-pollination and the effects of that. So this is about 16 foot here. Again, these are 50 inches wide when they're done and up like this. So I've got 4 of them at 50 inches, and with them overlapping, it's probably about 16 feet. I'll probably need another 5 of these panels, like I mentioned, to do the full length of this, but this is just a good start. And again, it's gonna make my old lady happy. I don't know why people say my old lady, but you know who I'm talking about when I say that. So yeah, it's a fun project, and it seriously took me like, I don't know, a half hour, if that. It's mostly because I'm explaining stuff to y'all, so hopefully you are motivated by how easy this is. I know a lot of people have seen squash tunnels. There's a lot of things I can do to make this a little nicer. Maybe I'll adjust it, but right now this is functional. Before the video ends, I just did one thing before recording the ending of the video that I think improves the rigidity. Is that a word? Rigidity? Sounds like it. You know what I mean. Gives it more structure. So instead of weaving each end, each panel end to end, this is what I did. So the first panel I wove like that. So there's one outside up here and one outside down there. On the other end of the first panel, it's only on the outside. The next panel I did on the outside, as you can see, and then up here I wove it on the outside again. So it looks just like how that panel starts. But I did not do the first panel's upper rung. I did not do that on the outside. So I'm just weaving the first half of each panel, and that gives it a lot more rigidity, structure. So did it on both sides. That side's got it too, and you can kind of see what that looks like. And you've got one woven on the outside and one on the inside only. So I think this just gives it more structure. I still have a little bit of a gap right here. It's probably just because I'm not on the most even ground, but that will help for sure. The more tension you have in this, the more weight it's going to hold. I wasn't worried about it before doing this, but now I'm definitely not worried. Hopefully you learned something along the way, and we thank you for watching. Please subscribe any likes or comments. That always helps, as you know. Maybe I should prompt you. Is there anything that you would put in your squash tunnel, such as another climber, like a grape, maybe? Grapes would be kind of cool in this setting. Anyway, thanks for watching, and until next time, God bless.